Let's take a break from the stock talk for a sec and go to the lands of the crypto. Scott Bauer is with us, our go-to guy to chat some BTC and more. Today it's actually ETH. Mr. Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. So look, I mean, whoever really knows why things happen in crypto the way they do, but we got to ask, any reason?
Well, a couple things here. First off, there's something to do with the hash rate actually in Ethereum. Everyone's been talking about it accelerating in Bitcoin, but something happened which I can't explain other than that it is a good thing with Ethereum, and that's why that is sticking out right now. The hash rate is much quicker. But you and I have been talking over the last week or so, Oliver, how we've seen a shift in the Bitcoin dominance and the lack of participation of the altcoins, which kind of shifted over the last couple weeks. Now, what happened over last night with the big flash crash in Bitcoin, where we saw it drop $500 literally in a minute, in a matter of minutes,
right.
Most of the altcoins dropped as well, however, not Ethereum. Ethereum's actually up about 10%, and from a purely technical standpoint now, for whatever technicals mean in not just Bitcoin, but the other altcoins, It actually is above the 200-day moving average right now. Going to be very interesting to see if it can hold this rally.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 25% gain in a week for Ethereum. Scott, it's very interesting to watch some of the other performance because we also had like a surge in Ripple. I mean, there was a day, basically over the last 48 hours, everything was up besides BTC. But look, after the Fed commentary, the first thing that dropped was gold, and it was kind of like waiting for, to see if BTC would follow, and eventually it got there. So I'm still kind of following that correlation, which even though the magnitudes are different and the timings are different, you have to admit that ultimately it's kind of moving where gold does.
Well, and if you look at that correlation over the last 24 or 48 hours since the Fed announcement, or, it was yesterday, look at what gold did. It backed off, rallied back, right? It, kind of hovering around 1,500. Whether the flash crash in Bitcoin was because of that or not, the thing did dip down almost to massive support around 9,600, and it is trading back up above 10 grand right now, right in kind of just the meandering range that it's been in over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and that's where I think at the end of the day it really gets down to it, because again, even with some of these event-specific moves where gold and Bitcoin go in the same direction, their correlation for the last month has broken down meaningfully as BTC struggled with each subsequent lower high. And that's where I kind of wonder, Scott, I mean, look, if this is still a risk paradise and a speculator's market, if BTC doesn't, turn itself around, this chart starts to look like the descending wedge of what happened around 6,000 before it broke. So, if I'm a speculator, why not go try my hand at Ether and see if that thing pumps?
So that's a really good point with Bitcoin. However, it did hold again overnight at some major support. Now, it is breaking down in the sense that we are starting to see some lower lows, lower highs. It is still defending that 9,600 area.
Big time,
It's going to be very, very interesting to watch. But, why not go into Ethereum? Why not go into some of the other altcoins? Well, the Bitcoin dominance, which got over 70% just a couple weeks ago, meaning, for total market cap of all cryptos, Bitcoin was over 70%. That's off the charts on the high side. That had to come back into line, in my opinion, or at least, drop down a little bit. And we've seen that as it's now, I think, around 66 or 67%.
Interesting. No, and yeah, that's true, because there was so much rallying against it. The last thing I'll say, Scott, is when we do flirt with this 10K, how important is it to stay basically above that support level around the mid 9,000s we haven't broken through? Because to me, technicals still remain really important on BTC. And while that while it's been a descending wedge, look, the people could say, look, no matter which way it breaks, up or down, it's a big deal if and when it does.
Yeah, 10,000 is really just a psychological number that everybody likes, but that mid 9.5, that 9,600 area, that is actually really important. If it does break down below that, Oliver, probably going down to 7,500.
All right, next stop on the train there. We'll wait and see it. Quick pop back up again today above 10K, so it's holding on. Scott Bauer, nice chat, a good perspective for us. Quick hit today on the crypto scene. We'll be right back. Scott's the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. We'll get back to some of the macro discussion. So what's next here?